I don't know what we're going to deal with here, but WWE Raw, let's get this out of the way because there is some news coming out of it this past week. WWE Raw.
Captain Buzzkill over there. We got to start with this.
Well, Captain Buzzkill. Am I Captain Buzzkill or is WWE Captain Buzzkill?
You are. No, you are. We got to start with the bad news of the week that is going to significantly impact yours and mine and many other people's enjoyment of this 3-hour television program every Monday night without a certain individual for a while. We will go into, but it's your show. Go ahead and continue to introduce it.
And I can't be a buzzkill. I have way too big of a buzz right now to be that. But Jim, Monday Night Raw in the same town that they were in previously for the Royal Rumble with what we thought was a lukewarm crowd. We'd heard from people who were there who said that, no, the crowd was into it. I don't know. But they were back in Tampa, full house for Monday Night Raw.
Well, now, was the stadium in Tampa or St. Pete?
St. Pete, I guess.
Well, it's not the same town. Now, the people down there, them's fighting words down there in Florida. Tampa and St. Petersburg are two very distinct cities and entities in a combined metroplex, much like Dallas and Fort Worth. So give them the respect that's on their birth certificates. See, I'm not going to take a lot of this shit seriously today. But
now I don't even know. Were they in Tampa for this, or were they in a different?
No, this was Tampa.
This was Tampa
here.
Okay.
Yes, but St. Petersburg is where the stadium was, so they weren't in the same town.
What's the name of the team that plays in the stadium?
I don't know.
The Tampa Bay Rays.
Well, okay.
So my mind went to Tampa. No one goes the Tampa Bay Rays of St. Petersburg.
But they're on both sides of Tampa Bay.
Right, but the focus is on the Tampa part of the bay.
Well, you ought to look more across the bay.
Is it a nice bay?
It's a pretty big bay. Pretty big, beautiful bay, baby. All right, so they start they've broken us. They've finally fucking broken us. So they start the program out with a package on the Rumble that to be honest, it made it look so much better than it was. Bam, I was really into that. Shit, I wish it hadn't taken me an hour and a half to watch this fucking match. And 4 hours to watch this pay-per-view because in 4 minutes, it was fucking great. But their production, their editing, production, etc., kudos to them. And then they announced, now we lost an announcer. Poor Kevin Patrick. Kevin, we hardly knew ye. Alas, poor Kevin. So,
let me back.
No, you can't come in. I hear you panting, but you can't come in, Kevin. You must go.
Why did someone think I should be the lead commentator?
Because they wanted to appeal to the British expatriate fucking demographic.
Every time you say that, we get someone to yell at us. Is he
Irish again?
Is he Irish? Yeah, maybe.
I thought he was somebody. No, that's right. He's Irish. He's Irish. All right. The Irish expatriate fucking demographic here in the United States. And nevertheless, out comes the trade-off for that. It's going to be Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, ladies and gentlemen, will be the new color man along with Michael Cole on the Monday Night Raw programs going forward. So they had to spend an inordinate amount of money to make that happen, didn't they? With all the other commitments that McAfee possesses here currently.
Well, football season's coming to a close, so I think his commitments have opened up a little bit for the next little while, and he already has a relationship with them. He's a big star. They like him there. I think they think he's bigger than he is, or how do I phrase that? They think he's more popular than he is?
Yes, more over potential. But he's pretty fucking popular
all right.
to some extent.
He's unbearable on commentary because it's like AEW commentary, but every now and then he hits you with a great line. You're like, man. And then right away, yeah, he's really fucking annoying on commentary. Here's the only big problem I have with this. Not even a big problem, but my only thought was, and again, they did an angle with Drew McIntyre. We'll talk about it momentarily, but you have CM Punk, and he can't wrestle for a while. He may be the best color commentator in the entire business. From the little bits I've seen him do it on Raw way back, on AEW TV. You need to keep him on TV. Well, you don't need to. If you wanted to keep him on TV and keep him involved and have his mouth build up trouble that eventually he'll get into, which he'll be perfect at. That's what I would have done.
Here's the thing is, I can see what you're saying and agree with it with a time limit before we know how long that he may be out. I see what they did and I see what they can do. I wouldn't want to do this immediately because like Cody, they kept us well apprised, but he still went away because how can we miss you if you won't go away? Is this the CM Punk version of Cody's torn pec that everybody was like, oh God, this is the end? And he came back bigger, but it took a while. You don't want Punk to have a constant presence, much less that he can if he's undergoing surgery and doing the rehab the right way initially. And you want another big name, however big, can be debated or, litigated elsewhere, but he's a recognized known name within that universe as well as outside in the media. So McAfee being announced as the permanent color guy gives them somebody right now, boom, another distraction from the potentially more lurid headlines they could be getting into, and they've got a guy that can do that no matter what happens if a safe falls on Punk tomorrow, which, depending on what CM Punk has done to Maria Ospinskaya to deserve the curse that has been laid upon him, even a Punk who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may be maligned with injury, and I can't even finish it because the moon is full and bright. I don't know what the fuck. You don't realize that Maria Ospinskaya is the lady who played the old gypsy woman in the Universal horror classic The Wolfman, featuring Lon Chaney Jr. playing the afflicted lycanthrope Larry Talbot, whose Punk's dog is named after. And so that was hysterical to everybody but you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So the point is, then later on, when you have assessed what the injury is and how it's been treated and how the recovery is going, then you can determine they've already laid seeds with Punk and Drew. And you've already got, everything you've had before. If Punk comes back from injury in whatever period of time, but you don't want him there just every week because then, it doesn't peak. It peaks and valleys before he's ready to take advantage of a peak. Does that make sense?
It does. Again, we don't know how long he'll be out. He was out, I think, 9 months last time he tore his tricep. But that was also in the middle of the all-out thing. So I don't know how long was the injury and how long was anything else.
Yeah, then he got some practice before, so he ought to be better at it this time. Now, I'm trying to bring some levity to a sad, sad situation that's gotten more and more absurd.
Well, let's talk about that situation. Pat McAfee's now on commentary, but Raw opened up after that announcement with the thing that everyone wanted to know what was going on. CM Punk, he held on to his arm in the Royal Rumble after a spot with Drew McIntyre. It looked like he was in some pain. He talked to a referee. Then he finished a match. Come to find out, he is injured once again.
Like Mussolini with shitty news. Here he came, arm in a sling. It had gotten out on the internet, but obviously, some people viewing at home were like, oh shit. And you could tell from his face that, shit, something's up. But one more time, at least, it led to one of the greatest segments on television, WWE this time, that we've seen in quite a while. He comes out, he gets the chance, and he stares at the WrestleMania sign, and he's obviously upset, and he congratulated Cody, said, I hope he finishes his story. And then he gave us the news. He's, I thought I had it in my hand. The way he mixes stuff that's absolutely true and undeniably true with just by the way that he refers to them. You can't tell when he's working and when he's not. This was 85 or 90% shoot, but he said, I came close I thought I had it in my hand. Of course he didn't. He knew he was going to lose the match, but he thought he had the WrestleMania moment. It was it's blurring the lines. He sounds so real. He is telling the truth. And he gave the news he tore his tricep, and WrestleMania this year isn't in the cards. And don't feel sorry for me. Maybe it's not ever going to happen. Is this a problem? And then he talked about a friend of his with cancer who, when he visits him, he's never down. He's always upbeat. And he's, so is this a problem for me when there's problems like that? And he teared up over that. He said, this is just a flesh wound. And again, it's verbally brilliant that he can tell the truth to such an extent in an obviously these days scripted program, and it still all makes sense within the story as well. Is it just a flesh wound? I overcome adversity. Hey, I lose more than I win. Did you see me fight in the UFC? And that was brilliant. It was not great, but God damn it, I had a dream and an opportunity, and I did it. And the people start chanting for him again. Because now he's doing a positive promo. This is a bump in the road he'll overcome. And I can't even begin to do it justice. But it was great material. And the delivery was at another level, as the kids are saying so much these days. And as he finally says, hey, there's always next year, right? Like the Cubs say, Drew McIntyre music. And who would have thought, again, that Sir Galahad would be this interesting at this point? And out he comes. And did you see Punk turn the microphone over ready like he's going to use it as a bludgeon?
Yeah, that was good. Because why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he if someone's coming in the ring that you have a problem with?
And you got one arm. Yeah. Or busting down your locker room door. You're going to try to be proactive, right? In such a situation. When you're hurt with a torn tricep, everybody tries to take advantage of him when he's got one wing. But Drew, he's so good now suddenly. And he sounds like a real person. And the delivery, he's thinking about this shit. But he said, I can relate. I can't do the accent. I've had my dreams taken away. Right? In the whole 9 yards. And he sounded emotional about what Punk had just said. And then one of the great lines I can remember. I've never been a spiritual person, but I want you to know I prayed for this and it happened. And the crowd go, oh, it was, and the delivery that he gave, it was fucking great. And then he says, I targeted you. I couldn't let it be you that got to my spot. You eliminated me and I couldn't sleep. And then I heard the news and I slept like a baby. And Punk's facials during hearing this, when Drew turned like that, it was fucking great too. And his reactions. And Drew told him he's going to go to WrestleMania some way or other and live your dream, Punk, again. And they get face to face, and Punk says, I'm going to get over this. And when I come back, I'm coming straight at you. And McIntyre swings at him and Punk ducks, but he's got one arm. He tries to fight. McIntyre gives him the headbutt, boom, and starts stomping the fucking torn, disfigured fucking tricep muscle. And I'm thinking, this is great. This is like wrestling, for God's sake. And then here comes Sami Zayn. It got a little bit less like wrestling because I'm thinking, God damn, if Drew McIntyre is kicking the shit out of me, and if anybody in the locker room, here comes Sami Zayn, I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm fucked. But there was a flurry, and he ran Drew off, and the referees and agents checked on Punk, and McIntyre was laughing. Oh, but again, another great he can do with one arm tied behind his back. He can do a better promo segment than 95% of the fucking rest of the business.
Great segment. Again, we don't know how long he'll be out. At least according to this, at least based on this, they're setting him up to be a babyface when he comes back against Drew. Because again, remember, he eliminated Cody Rhodes saying, I'm not going to lose to Cody's kid. I didn't come back to lose to Cody's kid. And then he got eliminated by him. I guess because he can't do anything for a while, they completely blew that off.
Well, they released backstage footage of Punk hugging Cody saying, finish your dream, young man, or whatever.
You said this injury ended up producing a great segment. It actually may have produced 2 great segments, because who knows how much of the Rollins-Cody thing would have happened if not for this.
Well, but God almighty, I do not. We'll get there. We'll get there. Rollins and Cody, but
Drew McIntyre also has become one of my favorite. He's become one of my favorite guys on promo segments in the company. His matches, at least who they're booking him with on this show, haven't really done it for me or got me really interested.
He's good enough in the ring. And
he's good in the ring. I'm not saying he isn't.
But also without the sword and the fucking, the whole apparatus. He's just a big guy with fucking dark hair and black tights and headbutts the shit out of people. I like that guy. They could, and then they could bring Wardlow in as his little nephew, Pismo.
If you're a company like WWE, does it soften the blow when someone like CM Punk, who you're paying a lot of money to, you have to imagine, comes in, multi-year deal, immediately gets hurt. He's coming off being hurt a few times, but you know that you're going to be able to sell merch with him.
Yeah.
While he's gone, he'll still be one of your biggest merch movers. Does that soften the blow?
Yes. I mean, the blow at this point, the billions of dollars, no one wrestler, no 5 wrestlers really, or 10 maybe, we could do the math, who knows, can be a blow to that company anymore. It can be to the creative team, to the people having to write and produce the actual program and all that stuff. Oh, God damn it. I mean, I was the night they pulled Sting off the cage and tore his ACL 2 weeks before Super Brawl in 1990 or whatever. Oh, God damn it.
Wrestle War,
whatever it was. They didn't have Super Brawl then. That's incessant in this business, but it can't be a blow to the company like, oh my God, hand wringing, what are we going to do? Because that's just, they're too big now. They got too much money. They can, who knows? We don't know the bookkeeping. Are they going to just break even maybe on Punk with merchandise sales and his intellectual property and likeness or whatever the fuck and a DVD? And then when he does come back,
they don't do DVDs anymore.
Well, a documentary or a program for the fucking streaming and however the kids are watching it on their teeth these days. I don't know. But all that type of thing and being in the program. And if he goes back to train some at NXT, then how valuable would that be just having him in the fucking training class? They'd have to pay him normally. Well, they're already paying him, but it's not going to be a blow to them. And then the inevitable, probably, when he does come back and do some commentary, maybe implement the idea you suggested. Do not cry for them, Argentina, as far as their bottom line on Punk.
The good thing, too, is you could put him on commentary. He'll settle in well. He'll do a good job. He could build to whatever. But no one, just like right now, no one will know exactly when he's healed. So it's a clever way to get him there, get him involved in stuff. He can always back off shit because he's injured. But no one will know when he's actually healed.
Yeah. And it will accept, hopefully they do before they know when he will be before they pull the trigger on it. But yeah, there's a bunch of different things that can happen. And when we went back and they showed the clips on, and I think some fan cam stuff on Twitter of, apparently it was during the double arm DDT spot with Drew McIntyre, that he tore the tricep, and you see him take a bump over and go over in the corner, and he's checking his arm and he's telling the referee something, blah, blah, blah. But so that means he did the rest of it, including after they got Drew and what's he out of there. And it was him and Cody for however long it was with one arm again. And he looked fatigued, but I didn't know injured when I first watched the Royal Rumble. And even though we know he was down at NXT training, anybody that keeps himself in good shape, there's good physical shape, good bodybuilding shape, good cardio shape. The only way you can stay in good wrestling shape is to wrestle. And he had put that in, I guess, at NXT, but it's not a regular thing. But I would doubt very seriously if he worked out with anybody the size of Drew McIntyre to then intertwine his arms with their arms, go over in fucking awkward positions. And that's probably where the tricep situation happened. And that's just shit that happens.
That's the other thing. Every single one of these guys that's had a segment with Drew McIntyre where they face off with him, he's a big fucking guy. You don't realize it until he faces off with everyone.
No, and that's the kind of thing with your arms intertwined with a guy that big and that much weight and going fucking south or whatever. That's when shit like that takes place. Nobody's particularly fault. But, the luck aspect at this point is just, and then again, when you look at the ridiculous shit that some people do and looks like it kills them and they pop right back up. And some of the biggest stars in both companies have been done in by routine shit. Whether it was fucking Cole jumping off the ramp or Charlotte did the goddamn, he was just trying to come off the top and they got flummoxed. Didn't even come off the top. Or all of these freak occurrences are, more frequent. Frequency, more frequent than ever before is the point I'm trying to make. Do you remember a period here recently or at any time in the modern era where this many top talents were hurt concurrently or consecutively?
I mean, there were periods in the early 2000s when a lot of guys were hurt, specifically with neck injuries and stuff, but right now, a lot of guys get hurt. I always am concerned about, I always bring this up, guys like Punk or Danielson or anyone that age who takes a long time off and comes back, almost always they get hurt. And the style is so physical now.
Yeah.
It got away from everything. The wrestlers used to all be badasses, not hurting each other in the ring.
Yeah.
Now they're not badasses and they hurt each other left and right or they hurt themselves. It's a hard...
I forgot about Danielson. Remember, he had a broken arm from a guy dropping an elbow on him. I think that may have been a first in fucking history.
Broken orbital socket, a broken arm, just one thing after another. It's really hard to not get injured, let alone if you've taken time off and you come back and you're in your early to mid 40s. That's rough. For this style of wrestling?
Well, anyway...
A double arm DDT is just a move to do in the middle of a battle royal. I mean,
well, it's not as dangerous as some of the other shit. That was an old Tennessee rib, and Bobby Eaton did it a couple times. I saw him do it in Louisiana once. If you were in a battle royal and there was like a young kid, like a rookie, just starting out, first territory, hadn't been into business long, whatever, you'd go over and you'd grab him and you'd fucking put his arm around your head and have him get a headlock on you, right? And you'd call a spot. Drop down, leapfrog, hip toss, and you'd shoot the guy off in the middle of the ring, in the middle of his battle royal. And Bobby said invariably the kid would try, excuse me, pardon me, he'd be trying to run to the ropes to come back and do it. Excuse me, pardon me. And by the time he came halfway back, Bobby just turned and walked away, right? Anyway, so nevertheless, we are punkless now on Raw, and that is not going to make this program certainly any more palatable.
No, which is one of the reasons why I thought he should have been on commentary, because it would have made the show more palatable, and he's really good at that role. But
then you devalue the investment that you can make by building a major box office attractions return by making him too much of a regular pretty face. But I agree with your idea that it could be a thing where as he begins to make his return, I'm fighting back, I'm, getting better every day. He does some commentary and instigates something with somebody. Eventually, I mean, unless how old is he? I can't remember. 40 something.
I think he's like a year older than me, so let's say 45.
Okay, at some point, whether it's 10 years from now or whatever, he's in a unique position where he could be as valuable to TKO in a commentary role for both of their companies. Think about this. With his verbal ability, his ability to bring a realism to everything, even in wrestling, as well as his experience in the UFC, such as it is, it's better than everybody who hadn't never been in the fucking UFC at all. He could be a big name like a Ventura or, whoever revolutionized color commentary and wrestling to your line of thinking out there in podcast land. Ventura, Lawler, Piper, whatever the fuck. For both companies, a personality with background in both as a color commentator for both companies' mega events. See there?
I see there. And, CM Punk's going to have a lot of time on his hands, and he's going to be rehabbing his injury and thinking about things. I think the one thing that he could take with him throughout all these journeys is music. Music's always there for us, but you need the right earbuds to hear it. And we have a suggestion for CM Punk right now.
Well, wherever you go, you need to hear the music. You need to march to the beat of your own drummer. You need to conduct your own orchestra. You need to go where you want to go, do what you want to do while listening to whatever you want to listen to. And that, of course, is possible and only possible with the Raycon Everyday Earbuds. You may see other people trying to sell you earbuds. Well, don't listen to them because they're expensive. And they don't work near as well from what I hear from all of the people that give these Raycon wireless earbuds the tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. So who are you to doubt some random person on the internet? And you can use the Raycon Everyday Earbuds that have the perfect in-ear fit, by the way. So you can put them in your match and just take backdrops and body slams and tic-tackles and flip-flops, and don't worry about them falling out when you take bumps.
Not suggested, and let's also just say it's not suggested you take any bumps or do anything like that high impact with these in your ear.
Well, they could end up coming out your nose, or like Cactus did, you might lose a tooth up through your nasal passages, but you would hear all kinds of good music until it happened. As a matter of fact, maybe stick these in your ear and have somebody call the match for you. But nevertheless, you've got a 8 hours of playtime. See, they're making the playtime longer and the size of the copy smaller. 8 hours of playtime, a 32-hour battery life on these things. You can listen to the entire In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida recording session on these things' battery life, for heaven's sake. And they're used to feeling the love, the love from the fans. As I mentioned, they've got the thousands of 5-star reviews, but you can also hook these things up for potentially all types of, erotic bedroom talk with your mate if you do it right. So you got that going for you. The customizable sound profiles are not listed here, but they have them. And they've got earbud tap function.
Tap function. Ladies and gentlemen, that's another thing we can't guarantee with your Raycon. There's no tap function.
They've got the tap functions where you can just tap the earbuds and it makes them function in various ways. Noise isolation. You can just shut out all noise in the world and be impervious. Or you can put on the awareness mode and you can instantly be at one with nature and aware of all your surroundings. But it's Valentine's Day coming up, so even if you just want to give her something to listen to, oh, God damn it.
Like a ringing telephone.
Yeah.
Or hanging up on a telephone.
So it's Valentine's Day, and even if you just want to give her something to listen to instead of you having to talk to her, or vice versa, Go to buyraycon.com right now. That's BUYRAYCON.com/JCE, and you're going to get 15% off and free shipping on everything on the site. As a matter of fact, you get 15% off the site. If you want to buy the website, buyraycon.com, right, just go /JCE. They'll let you have the run of the place. You can own the website, 15% off.
Website not for sale. Website's not for sale. There's no shipping on a website. The website's not for sale.
Well, I'm telling you what, Cornette's Collectibles made several $1,000s last year on shipping websites.
What?
Yes, I'll clue you in on that. Hotchkiss has got another invention.
Oh, no.
He's mailing websites to people, but he's charging shipping. Anyway, right now, folks, buyraycon.com/JCE, 15% off your Raycon order plus free shipping. You can listen to music. You can listen to the Super Bowls coming up. You don't have to listen to your spouse or significant other, whichever one's the biggest selling point. Jump on that and do it. And don't forget about the gel tips. These things will massage your inner ear, and you can actually get the deluxe models, and they vibrate.
That's right. That's gel tip function.
That's the gel tip function of the whole thing. Raycon.
That's right. What's that promo code? One more time, Jim.
JCE, Brian.
That's right. Once again, promo code JCE. But with that, Jim, let's get back to Monday Night Raw.
Thank you, Bob Luce. So, I'm not liking the Judgment Day planning meetings in the back where they publicly just go over in a conversational tone all of the business they're going to transact. And they had Finn and Priest against Ciampa and Sameface, and of course the heels win.
Hold on. Can I say something about this, though?
Yes.
They did a few different things here, and it stuck out to me for the first time here in terms of production. Before the match, Ciampa and Gargano were like talking to the camera while walking to the ring.
Yes, they did that a couple weeks ago.
And at other points, the female backstage interviewer was almost conducting a real backstage interview as opposed to, I'm going to introduce myself, and this other person's going to awkwardly walk in now, and then we'll pause, and now here's an awkward question. So there are little changes like that I'm noticing, but I noticed it here, and I know what you think of them, and I'm not a big fan either, but it was a good match because I had a hot crowd for this.
Well, I love Ciampa, but Sameface cancels him out for me, and I think it prevents anybody from taking Ciampa seriously at more than a underneath middle level. Not only the way they present him, his talent is great, but why would he be partners with this little fucking worm, right?
Well, the other thing, you kind of poisoned them with me when you brought up last week. Why are they DIY? Are they handymen? What is their gimmick?
Yeah,
exactly?
Do it yourself because nobody else will do it for you.
What are they doing exactly?
We don't know. So, but then they call R-Truth to the ring, and Priest and R-Truth do comedy. And I'm not going to go over it except that Priest is not a comedian. And I don't think he should be. And R-Truth is a comedian, and I don't think he should be doing comedy with Priest and this top heel group. But basically, sooner or later, JD jumps on R-Truth, and The Miz makes the save. So now we're talking about Miz and R-Truth against the Judgment Day. And then the heels beat everybody up. But I liked the judge. I liked 3/5 of the Judgment Day or whatever the fucking fraction was, and that's dribbling away every week that they do this shit.
JD is growing on me because if you watch what he actually does, he's pretty good. But the R-Truth stuff was, I guess, building to this. When they started beating him, I'm thinking, all right, someone has to make the save. Who the hell could it be? Like, they're not going to waste a really big one on this, I don't think. And then it was The Miz, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I can kind of understand what they're maybe thinking. Mm-hmm. And then he got beat down, too. And no one else saved any of them. So, we'll see. I mean, Miz and R-Truth in a tag title feud against the Judgment Day. It's not one of the worst things on the show, but
And JD may grow on you, but so did the fucking intergalactic green shit on Stephen King and Creepshow. Yes,
that's a crazy movie.
Anyway, then we had Chelsea and Piper versus Shayna and Zoe. And then finally we got to 9 o'clock where we could have another big dramatic reading by, the Oliviers and the Barrymores of the industry. We got Cody and Seth Franklin. And Cody comes out. He gets the chance. You deserve it. You deserve it. He won the Rumble. There's a ton of signs there because they're in Tampa, so do it for Dusty. And what do we want to talk about actually got a response out of him, right? And then he had the announcer announce him as the Rumble winner again and got a big pop. And then part of this started out like Cody was going to be doing a real heartfelt promo a la what Punk had done earlier, but in his more potentially eloquent and florid and verbose manner.
Practiced. Pretentious.
Workshopped.
Workshopped.
And he alluded to that he'd had a rough 48 hours in his personal life, but he didn't explain, but everybody's okay, but just that he needed you guys on Saturday, the fans, that is. And so I don't know what, but then about WrestleMania, let's make it official. And then suddenly, boom, Seth Franklin Rollins music. And Seth is now doing the thing where he limp dances because he's got when we were talking about people hurt, we forgot about him earlier. He's hurt too. In effect, he's got a torn MCL and torn cartilage. He won't be wrestling probably until WrestleMania. And then I still maintain they'll probably do something he won't go 30 minutes and, goddamn just cartwheel across the ring. But obviously we had thought going into this before things started happening again that we were going to get Cody and Roman and Seth and Punk. Well, then Seth got hurt, but he said, I'm going to go to WrestleMania. So then Punk said, hold my beer, I'll get hurt worse, right? So now they were both hurt. So now does this mean they're going to change the match between the two guys that are healthy? Because Seth's story, he congratulated Cody and he shook his hand, but then he told Cody that if Cody picks Roman to challenge, he's going to be making a mistake and he should fight him instead. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And then Seth says, now hear me out. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck. Now this is going to take a while too, right? And it did. And the story that Seth is trying to convince Cody to pick him instead of Roman is that Roman Reigns isn't the guy anymore. I'm the guy. This is the title in WWE. No, it's not. And he went on and on trying to make this case that he can't make. And he's wanting Cody to challenge for, and he's wanting these people to see this match defend a title that's 6 months old. And he's saying the reason is because Roman never shows up. It's basically like he can't figure out any other way than to say Roman never shows up because he's too big a star and nobody can beat him. And he's got the real title, so they gave me this one because I'll work often and wrestle a bunch of people. How does that make sense?
This is the belt for people who like to work. If you just like to collect money and stay home, you should go for that other belt.
Yes, this is the belt where you got to get beat up every fucking week. And it's not the lineage of either of the real world titles they've been running around here for the past decades. And then he tried to tear down the biggest star in the company in the process. We don't need Roman Reigns was a quote. In the WCW days, that would have instituted a lawsuit or a backstage fight.
That did stand out. how hard he was hitting the actual champion of WWE, just because usually they wouldn't want anyone hitting another guy like the champion.
Yes.
Like that.
He said, do you want the Hollywood title, the Hulk Hogan title for the Politickers, or the Dusty Rhodes title? Oh my God, do you want the Hulk Hogan title? Jesus Christ, in the company that made Hulk Hogan the biggest star in the world when he had that title. It's a goddamn.
We're celebrating 40 years after Hulk Hogan changed their business by becoming champion.
You don't want that fucking thing. So he says
Or do you want the Dusty belt? The belt that he held 3 times for 9 days or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, and not even that. Do you want the title that he held up over his head in the picture that has haunted Cody for 50 fucking years? And Seth actually says the world title is about who's best between these ropes. How is the other one not? They have the same kind of matches with the same rules, contested the same way. And the other guy's been champion longer and beat more people. What the fuck? In kayfabe or real, it doesn't make any sense. And the upshot was Seth wants him to think about it, and Cody says that he would think about it. And that was it. God damn it. So now we went from 2 matches that we really wanted to see to potentially Cody and Seth that I don't think anybody wants to see.
Well, I think this has to be a swerve.
It better be.
And if it is, it's a great segment. And if you told Seth Rollins or anyone, go out there and try to make some sense of this, and this is what got spit out, this is a pretty good job. Because again, it's a bullshit title that was made up that one guy has held. So you can't really pitch it. This is the belt your dad would have wanted. It just wasn't created when he was alive. It was a good I'll say this, Rollins, for all the times I kill him, when he is serious, he's great.
But he had nothing to work with. It's like the greatest fucking bank robber of all time being sent in with a water pistol.
And remember, right before the Rumble, they set up Gunther with an injured Rollins. Remember, he said, I may win the Rumble, come for you. So they're definitely putting interesting segments that will draw ratings between characters talking to each other on TV. Sometimes it may not lead to something right away. I got to think that's what it is, that Cody's going to come back and now you can really build up. He will make his big announcement, as opposed to just he's going to say what he was going to do is fight Roman. Now you have a couple weeks to milk it.
Maybe I'm just shell-shocked from the old days when they probably would have done something like this.
You want the Hulk Hogan? What do you think Hulk Hogan's there? What the fuck?
but yeah, odd. Do you want the belt the guy had when he was the biggest star in the fucking business by far, or do you want the one that I've got now that they gave to me 6 months ago? The fuck. All right, should we move on through Raw?
Yeah.
Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed, your thoughts?
I had to take a break after that last segment and get something to eat.
Okay, well then Gunther, our boy, wrestled Kofi Kingston in an Intercontinental title defense, and I was actually going to attempt. Gunther's always great, and everything he does is close to natural and something that he should do as anybody I've ever seen. But they go a minute maybe to the break. They were gone for 3.5 minutes. They came back for 3 more minutes. They went to another break. And they came back from that after about 3.5 minutes. It just all broke up. Another 3 minutes or whatever the fuck. Gunther with a power bomb, 1, 2, 3. And then the Da Vinci and Kaiser got in there and got heat on Woods and Kofi and ran Woods into the ring post. But they're trying to make them more serious, put more heat on them. I'm all in favor of that, but I can't even watch Gunther when they're just, we're back here for a minute, we're gone. We're back here for a minute, we're gone. You know what I mean?
I do, but I did think the action they showed was pretty good. Gunther has the ability to, almost every one of his matches, I have a moment where I think, I think they may beat him. Maybe they're actually going to do it tonight.
He shows vulnerability well when it's called for.
And then it doesn't happen, and I'm like, I was so stupid. Why did I think they would ever do that? But he's really good at showing that in his or doing that in his matches, and this was a good match. For what they showed on TV, it was good. There are 3 Imperium members. There are 2 active New Day members. I mean, I haven't heard anything about Big E if he's healthy enough to come back, but I wonder what else they could be doing.
You're saying they need a New Day?
They need someone, right? If it can't be 2-on-3, look what happened to R-Truth and The Miz earlier.
I think they're setting it up for Da Vinci and Kaiser and the 2 guys and blah, blah, blah. But talking about, that's why they call them false finishes, because the people are supposed to think that's the finish. And great heels throughout the history of the business have been able to get people into, hey, he's almost got him. He's almost got him. And Gunther knows how to do it logically where it looks like and it appears that might be it. But at the same point, he's not getting up after being shot with a fucking cannon. So, he's a natural. But unnaturally, then we followed with Oscar and Kairi Sane against Natty and Tegan. And then an in-ring promo with all of Bayley's bunch. And Rhea came out and started to tell them off, but the refrigerator jumped Rhea from behind in the aisleway and then threw her in the ring and leg dropped her and bonsai'd her while Bayley and all of her girls watched. And then all of Bayley's girls got out of the ring and left Bayley in the corner to be intimidated by the refrigerator. And I wish that Rhea wasn't involved in any of this. And maybe they can get something out of her body slamming fucking refrigerator jacks and leg dropping her like Hogan and Andre. Hopefully at WrestleMania, that's what will happen. But otherwise, Bayley's crew, it takes 3 of them to make one of Jax. But at the same time, we always talk about, I'm saying, well, they're not credible because they're so small, but Jax is the female Playboy Frazier. She's too fucking big. I've said it's like working with a fucking waterbed with arms and legs. So, if she could talk and exhibit some kind of working menace, I'm talking about Jax. If she could talk and exhibit evil and working menace instead of you just being afraid she is a menace because she's going to fall on somebody and hurt them. That's not working menace. That's real menace. Otherwise, that fucking voice and the whole 9 yards, it just bleh.
They should give her the Young Bucks gimmick. But instead of like, I'm an EVP, it should be like, I'm the cousin of The Rock. You have to do what I say. Like, make her a dick like that. I was hoping Jade was going to make a save here. Jade just body slammed Nia Jax out of the ring in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, but I think they found out that she ain't ready to be let loose on her own on live TV in this environment.
Let loose on live TV? Like, what is Jade going to do? Jade, compared to some of the girls they have on there, would do all right.
Well, it was rough in the Rumble with old Liv Morgan. I'm just saying, the thing is, with the way they built her up, she can't just be in there and be better than some of the girls. She has to look fucking great. And they have to orchestrate that and manipulate it. And if they don't feel like she's ready to do what they need her to do, then they're not going to pull the trigger on it and make everybody think, that's kind of a letdown.
Have we ever seen Rhea Ripley beat down like this?
No, and I'm not sure I want to see any more of it. It's part of the mystique. Mommy's always on top. But unfortunately, old Refrigerator Jax was sitting on Mommy's face.
And again, in terms of swerves or where they're going to go, it's not even a swerve, just you don't know what direction they're going to go. Is Bayley going to challenge Rhea, who is coming down there to tell her she better not?
Well, not after Refrigerator Jax told her that, goddamn, this is not going to happen this way. She says Rhea's not going to make it to WrestleMania.
So is that going to be what it is? She challenges her own damage control partner out of fear of Nia Jax?
Well, wouldn't you? The other girl's 5 foot fucking nothing, weighs 96 pounds.
Yeah, you have a point.
There you go. Speaking of points, we are pointed toward the main event, which was Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre. Speed versus power. Agility versus strength and size. To the break in under a minute and a half. And then No, Sami Zayn sells great. His body language, I've always said that, even when he was the mute luchador. And they had a pretty good match for the time they had left and did some big moves, 2 counts, etc. And then, basically you knew what was going to happen, but they had a great little spot in the finish where Drew's in the corner and Sammy goes for his haluva kick. And Drew ducked and covered his head up, but when he did, Sammy kicked over him and Drew more or less punched Sammy in the balls. And Sammy sold it, and then Drew came out of the corner with the kick, 1, 2, 3. So that was an inventive little finish. I like that. And otherwise, it was a nice little WWE TV main event. And that's all we can expect these days. But the 2 big promo segments, and there you go. And that was 3 hours of our lives.
Oh boy, that was Monday Night Raw.